And with our dear guest live here in the studio, Dr. Walaa Wasfy, the Assistant Lecturer of Political Marketing, and we were speaking about the amended investment law. We're going to continue from المصرى اليوم, as President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi issued on Thursday the set of 3 legislations governing investment on the eve of the economic conference. The legislations were approved by the cabinet last week. In your opinion, why it was that late? I mean, just on the eve of the conference.
Maybe because the conference to be held nowadays, we were not quite sure enough until 1 month ago that it will be held really. So thanks Allah that period has passed. So we need to make a lot of drafts for different laws to remove the obstacles for the international investors to invest in Egypt. Yes, it's late, but it's important, and which is much more important is to implement it after the conference, after the 15th of March, inshallah. So this is an important law. Implementation is much more important, and which is more important is to encourage the international investors to invest in Egypt. In order, you know, Egypt on the rank of the international countries, Egypt is a developing country. We hope to be a developed country. In order to be a developed country, it will be by investing, and in order to achieve investors, we should open more than one field for scientists in Egypt and for inventors to invent new.
But to what extent do you think that just amending the laws and this investment law in specific would attract more foreign capitals to be here and to be invested in Egypt?
For sure, for sure. It will be a key factor to attract all those international investors to invest in Egypt. And no, investing is also holding or making a lot of new projects, creativity one, inventing new things. And also we must note that the scientific research this time is very important in order to invest in new creative projects.
And we should also say that it's not going to be beneficial only for the foreigners, it's going to be beneficial for both foreigners and Egyptians.
Yes, for sure. The benefits will be for us. That, as we said, have you seen the new advertising that it was made in English language? Yesterday, it was published yesterday. Really, I like that, the kind of advertising which is different from others that was made for us since a week. But this delivering a message that not only the international investors, Arab one and Egyptian, all will invest, all will help more than one project to take Egypt from developing country to developed one, to be the area for investing among the world.
And we do have our dear colleague, our correspondent from Sharm el-Sheikh, from the conference hall, Linda Abdel Latif. Linda, a very good morning to you.
Good morning, Yumeen. How are you?
How are you? How's everything there? Just describe the situation and describe how Sharm el-Sheikh first was ready to host all those people coming from all over the world to participate and to share in this gathering.
Well, good morning, Nermeen, and as you've mentioned, actually, I'm right now in Sharm el-Sheikh city, where the Egyptian Economic Development Conference, known as EEDC, will be taking place starting from today till the 15th of March. Now, as we all know, this conference is held under the title Egypt, the Future, and is hosted by President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi. As to the preparations right here at the EEDC, or the Sharm el-Sheikh International Congress Center, where the EEDC is taking place, they're putting the latest finishing touches in terms of the preparation for the main halls or the booth. The booths are already set up and everything. They're only putting the latest touches in order to be ready to receive all the delegates. Now, as we've seen yesterday, actually, Prime Minister Engineer Ibrahim Mahlad has received a number of presidents, vice presidents, and prime ministers as well at the Sharm el-Sheikh airport. And to mention some of them, for example, Prime Minister Engineer Ibrahim Mahlad has received the Cypriot president. He received as well the King of Bahrain. He received the prime ministers of Armenia and Algeria. He received the prime ministers, of Armenia and Algeria. He received as well the vice presidents of Tanzania and Equatorial Guinea. He has received as well.
Yeah, Linda, have you had a chance to speak even behind the camera, I mean, with participants or our guests in Sharm el-Sheikh? Have you had their impressions about how Sharm el-Sheikh was ready and prepared for this gathering? Have you had an idea about their way of thinking now about Egypt as a new Egypt after the 30th of June revolution and after being on the right path, and especially with this gathering, which, as I said before, is attracting people from all over the world?
Well, actually, the delegates arrived along with Prime Minister Engineer Ibrahim Mahlab, who has received them at the airport, so they went immediately. We did not have a chance to talk to them, okay, but the King of Bahrain has actually released like a kind of his speech where he said that he's very excited that he is participating in this conference along with a business and economics delegation from his country. He also ensured that, and he's expressed his happiness that the Bahraini delegation actually will be meeting with the Egyptian counterparts in order to discuss investment opportunities and strengthen actually the investment opportunities between both countries in terms of, for example, fields of tourism, industry, and many other fields. So everyone is excited and everyone believes in the new Egypt, that we will be able to improve the Egypt and have a better future for the country with the various projects that will be presented and proposed during the conference in the different fields, especially that there are actually around 80 different countries participating in this conference in 23 regional and international organizations. To mention very quickly some of them, we're having, for example, the EU, we're having the COMESA, we're having the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, the Arab Fund. We're also having huge participation, of course, mainly leading global figures from the world of politics and economics. And to mention for you some of them, we have the biggest names in the world, like, for example, Mr. Jeff Immelt, who is the chairman and CEO of one of the biggest multinational companies on the international level. We're also having Dr. Mohammed El Arian, who's the chief economic advisor of one of the biggest financial services company. We're also having, for example, on the regional level, Mr. Abdul Karim Jalfer, who is the chairman and the CEO of one of the biggest telecommunications company in the region and in the world, actually. So there's huge participation among the
So, Linda, keep up the good work. You are doing great there, and we are going to be in contact with you all over the day, as we are going to follow up minute by minute the developments and what's going on there in Sharm el-Sheikh. Thank you very much for being with us, Linda Abdul Latif, NileTV correspondent from Sharm el-Sheikh. Thank you, dear. Meanwhile, Minister Ibrahim Mahlab said the government would be keen during the conference to present its economic vision. The word economic vision here, I think it's very important. And I think all the Egyptian representatives should have an agenda and priorities.
Right.
How do you see those priorities?
First of all, all the presented projects to be invested in Egypt must be implemented as soon as possible after the 15th of March and to sign more than one deal and to give chance, as Linda has said, for the multinational organizations in more than one field to invest and hold more than one project. It's the economic vision that will deliver among the whole world to be or to have the new Egypt, as you said at the beginning, to present the new Egypt with a new economic vision that Egypt is a safe place and it's the center of the world and Africa to invest in. And also we must link that economic conference to the Suez Canal project that will open or launch at next August, inshallah. So it's very important to sign and think about more than one project to be held. So it's a great vision. Inshallah, it will be implemented.
And to shed more light on that, over than 270 of about 1,300 foreign officials and executives registered for the event, which will declare Egypt open for business again after years of economic and political turmoil. I like the word, to declare Egypt once again open for business.
Yes, that's the right word or the right slogan that we should focus on.
That makes the Gulf the largest regional contingent at the conference, eclipsing Europe, which traditionally, whenever we're talking about foreign capitals, money is coward, I should say.
Right.
Whenever you are taking a risk, whether to not all the time to gain profits or something, but whenever we are talking about a place full of potentials like Egypt, I think the risk is a little bit easier or should be taken. Do you think that this is the case now?
Not that optimistic. While we study the market, I have to put the positive and the negative one. Also, there is a very important message that we focus on, that the conference is held at Sinai. Sinai, the place that all terrorism groups are seeking to attack. So this is the most strong message to those terrorism groups, that anyone who will think that you can face the political stability of Egypt, it's not that easy. So this is the most political message of that conference.
The strongest or the most powerful.
Yes, maybe more than the economic one, because economic and politics on the one way. So the political one is much more important.
Since you have mentioned politics, the ambassador of Palestine in Cairo and its permanent representative to the Arab League, Gamal Shubaki, confirmed on Thursday that the Palestinian president, Mahmoud Abbas, will arrive on Friday to Sharm el-Sheikh to participate in the Egyptian Economic Conference. And as we also know, that American Secretary of State John Kerry also arrived here in Sharm el-Sheikh for sideline talks.
Right.
Yeah, and on the sidelines then of the conference, do you think that more political talks, as you've kindly mentioned, are going to take place? And here, Egypt is again playing its pivotal role as a key player in the Middle East?
Yes, for sure. The political talks is much more important, especially with the U.S. and the Palestinian president. This is very important. Regardless, economic projects that can be held by more than one businessman, that he's not interested in politics but interested in investment, but the relation between countries, which is political one, is much more important. So the visit of John Kerry and the Palestinian president who arrived to Sharm el-Sheikh, the side talks first will be about politics, and we must be sure of that, the relation between two countries and the messages and the announcement that we hear each and every day. And Palestinian, especially the group of Nasrallah, which is creating more than one terrorism act at outside Beit al-Maqdis.
The so-called affiliated to Al-Qaeda, the terrorist groups we have, unfortunately.
Yes.
Because they are all just sides of the same coin.
At Sinai. So his visit also will deliver a political message first, then the economic one. So those two visits
so among lines or the sidelines, in your opinion, are going to be even more important politically?
Yes, for sure.
Finally, from اليوم السابع, we read Egypt's stock indices were mixed in the closing session of Thursday trading, pushed by the purchasing operations of Egyptian and foreign investors, while Arab investors tendered to selling. And we do have, of course, some data about the main EGX 30, the indices in general, EGX 100. Some are down and some are up. These are things which I'll never understand. Whenever we are talking about political events or gatherings or international events like that conference, we all hoped, or at least having just a push forward, that all the indices are going to go up.
Yes.
And this is not the fact always. We do have mixed ups and downs in the bourse or the stock market. Do you have an explanation?
For sure, just not an explanation for the numbers, but for the idea that the next week that you will see those percentage are much more higher, as inshallah, after passing safely the conference, as the political stability affects economic, affect stock market. So the stock market and the interest will be highly presented, which is, we see a lot of bad days at the stock markets during the revolution. So that's why we must be optimistic on the coming days, and inshallah will be years in the stock market that it will be affected positively, inshallah.
Dr. Walaa Wasfy, Assistant Lecturer of Political Marketing, thank you very much for your input.
Thank you
we
very
wish you
much.
a very good day.
And for you too. Thank you for you, Mrs. Nene.
By this, we come to the end of our Press Digest, but right after the short break, we're going to come back with more in the breakfast show, so stay tuned only on NileTV International.